Sealtest milk, cheese, and ice cream divisions of National Dairy present Sealtest Variety Theater with Henry Russell and his orchestra, the Crew Chiefs Quartet, and two of Hollywood's outstanding favorites, Tony Martin and the Great Gildersleeve. And here's the lovely star of our show, your hostess for the next half hour, Dorothy Lamour.
Thank you and welcome to Sealtest Variety Theater. I'm sure that you'll all get as much of a kick out of meeting our two great guest stars as I get out of introducing them to you. Here they are, Hal Perry, better known as the Great Gildersleeve, and Tony Martin.
Thank you, Dottie. I'm getting a kick out of being here myself.
Yes, indeed. It's a real pleasure to be here, Dottie. And that certainly is a stunning-looking dress you have on.
You think so? Well, to be perfectly honest, it's just a little number I threw together.
Well, when you threw it, you certainly put plenty of curves in it. But standing next to two such fine singers reminds me that I almost became a singer in the musical world myself.
Oh, I didn't know that, Gildy.
Oh, yes. My mother wanted me to be a famous musician. My father wanted me to be a famous doctor, so I compromised.
What did you do?
Well, Tony, I stood outside of a drugstore and whistled at the girls.
Tony, speaking of music, I understand you have a wonderful musical background.
Well?
Perhaps you can help me out then. I was wondering whether you happen to know the second bar on the 8th page of the 4th movement of the 9th Symphony, Opus 36.
Opus 36? Know it? I can't even add it.
I can't even say it.
Tony Martin and Hal Gildersleeve Perry, you'd better stand by because you're going to be responsible for songs, comedy, and lots of stuff in just a moment.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
Only 7 days to get ready for Thanksgiving. And here's the perfect dessert for that big feast. Spicy pumpkin pie with lots of thick whipped cream. Sealtest cream, that is. The rich, heavy cream that whips like a dream with just a few turns of the beater. Sealtest whipping cream is extra thick and smooth, with a sweet, country-fresh flavor that makes pie and other desserts taste twice as good. Like all Sealtest products, it's tops in taste, quality, and purity. So for extra goodness, serve that wonderful Sealtest whipping cream. Always
get the best, get Sealtest.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking of taking a walk down a quiet country lane, you're liable to have lots of company, because chances are you'll bump into 24 bumpkins and a contractor from Henry Russell's orchestra, and our own country gal with straw in her hair singing country style.
When it comes to fancy dancing, or to music with a smile, or to nice romancing, make mine country style. When it comes to arms that hold you, eyes that shine about a mile, like I just now told you, make mine country style. Hear that fiddle? I could listen.
All right.
Hear that guitar?
Ain't that something?
Darn right. Dance and share a loving cup with different partners for a while. But for hitching up with, make mine country style. Yes, sir, country style.
I love the music and the way that the country boys play. It's all worthwhile when it's country style.
Dance and share a loving cup with different partners for a while. But for hitching up with, make mine country style.
Yes, sir, country style.
Yes, sir, country style. And here's the man you've all been waiting for. Wasn't easy tracking him down in the middle of the Casbah, but we found him. And we're mighty pleased to introduce that great singing star of screen and radio, Tony Martin. Tony, we hope you're going to sing for us, but is there anything you'd like to do first on our variety theater?
No, Dottie. I haven't thought of anything in particular. That is, unless... Oh, that's very silly. You wouldn't want to hear the story of my life, would you?
Well, I can't think of anything I'd rather hear, especially since we rehearsed it for 3 hours. But it is nice to know about the early years of someone who has become as successful as you have.
Well, shall we?
Certainly. Presenting, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time over this or any other air, the Cavalcade of Tony Martin.
People said it was a boy. Then I was born. My parents were very poor. They wanted a new stove, but I was all they could afford. You see, the soles of my father's shoes were so thin, he could step on a morning newspaper and tell you who Westbrook Pegler was mad at. I'll never forget those cold winter mornings. I'd climb out of my little bed. The only way I could keep warm was to climb back into our little freezer. It was so cozy in there with that side of beef. And then I went, before I knew it, I was 13. And off I went to school.
Class will now come to order. Tony Martin, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Then you'll have to stay after school for 2 hours.
Will I know all the questions?
You'll find out all the answers, too.
It was fun, being the only boy in the class. I learned geography, history, composition, lots of stuff like that. Teachers said I was getting good enough so that someday I might even get to reading and writing. And then came the war.
What war?
I don't know what war. These things somebody always says, and then came the war. I was a young boy in my teens, 16 to be exact. And one day Dad called me into his private library and said...
Son, I'd like to talk to you, son.
Yes, Dad.
Son, there's something you and I should discuss. Now, do you know anything about the birds?
Well, yes, Dad. I understand they fly around.
Son, do you know anything about the bees?
Why, yes, Dad. I understand they give honey.
Is that all you know?
Yes, Dad. That's all I know.
Darn it, how am I ever going to find out about anything?
But time was passing swiftly, and the question was, what was to become of me? Should I become a salesman, a riveter, a horseradish grinder, a rope splicer, or a famous psychiatrist? It wasn't easy making a decision, so I went to a gypsy tea room to find out what the future held in store for me.
Yes, Cutie, sit down here, Cutie. Now, what do you want to know, Cutie?
I'd like to know about my future.
Yes, honey, I'll tell you in just a minute, honey. Drink this cup of tea, sweetie.
Okay. There. I drank it. Go ahead, tell me my fortune.
Wait a minute. I can't do it so fast.
But I thought you could tell me my fortune right away with tea leaves.
Look, honey, I do it the hard way, with tea bags.
Oh.
All right, now, let me look. Please, I'm umming.
I'm sorry.
See, now I have to start all over again. This is very interesting. You were born under the sign of Sagittarius, which is directly under the influence of Taurus, unless Capricorn happens to be in the direct orbit of Aries, in which case Virgo does not influence Aquarius.
Now, what does that mean?
Look, honey, if I understood all that stuff, you don't think I'd be working in a dive like this. Maybe I'd better try it with cards, huh? Oh, this is terrible.
Should have knocked with 6. What's the matter?
I hate to tell you this, but you drew the ace of spades.
You mean?
Yes. You're going to end up in show business.
mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
No. Please, Mr. Martin, try it again.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Oh, no, Tony. Please hurry. I got lots of lessons today. Dickie Hames is coming over, Perry Como, Von Monroe, Frankie Lane, and Glenn Hall Feinschreiber. Have you ever heard of any of those fellows?
Oh, you said it. That Glenn Hall Feinschreiber has a wonderful voice. And then came the war.
What war?
The same war we were discussing before. Eventually, I found myself in Hollywood, and I trudged all over town knocking on studio gates trying to get in. One day, hungry and tired, I stood outside of a record store, and I heard some guy singing, "Isn't it romantic? Music in the night, a dream that can be heard. Isn't it romantic? Moving shadows write the oldest magic word. I hear the breezes playing in the trees above, while all the world is saying you were meant for love. Isn't it romantic, merely to be young on such a night as this? Isn't it romantic? Every note that's sung is like a lover's kiss. Sweet symbols in the moonlight. Do you mean that I will fall in love perchance? Isn't it romance? If dreams are made of imagination, I'm not afraid of my own creation. With all my heart is here for you to take. Why should I quake? I'm not awake.
Isn't it romantic?
Merely to be young on such a night as this.
Isn't it romantic? Every note that's sung is like a lover's kiss.
Sweet symbols in the moonlight. Do you mean that I will fall in love perchance? Isn't it romance?
Well, what happened? Did you ever find out who it was that was singing?
No, I didn't, Dottie, but it gave me strength and courage to go on.
What do you mean?
Well, I figured that if that guy could have made the grade, anyone could.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
When it comes to Thanksgiving desserts, here's a topper that tops them all. Clouds of luscious whipped cream piled high on your favorite icebox dessert or pie. And I'm talking about Sealtest whipping cream. The cream that's thicker, richer, better in every way. It whips up fast into the smoothest, most lip-smacking whipped cream you ever tasted. You can be sure it's tops because it bears the famous Sealtest symbol, your guarantee of true quality, purity, and fine country fresh flavor. That's Sealtest whipping cream. Serve it often and always.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
young man.
Yes? Oh, you again.
Let's watch our attitude, young fella. I came here to see Miss Dorothy Lamour. How about it?
Well, you'll have to be patient, Mr. Gildersleeve. Miss Lamour is about to sing.
She is? Well, I want to hear this. I'll sit over there and watch the drummer. I love percussions.
Say it isn't so. Say it isn't so. Everyone is saying you don't love me. Say it isn't so. Everywhere I go, everyone I know, whispers that you're growing tired of me. Say it isn't so.
Please say it isn't so.
People say that you found somebody new, and it won't be long before you leave me. Say it isn't true. Say that everything is still okay. That's all I want to know. And what they're saying, say it isn't so.
Say it isn't so. Say it isn't so. Everyone is saying you don't love me. Say it isn't so. Everywhere I go, everyone I know whispers that you're growing tired of me. Say it isn't so. Oh no,
People say that you found somebody new, and it won't be long before you leave me. Oh, say it isn't true. Say that everything is still okay. That's all I want to know. And what they're saying, say it isn't so.
Dottie, there's a fellow here who says he's Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, the water commissioner of Summerfield.
Oh, you mean Hal Perry, the great Gildersleeve. Well, how do you do, Mr. Gildersleeve?
How do you do, Miss Lamour?
What brought you to our program, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, I came in a Sealtest ice cream truck. I came to see you on business.
What kind of business?
Miss Lamour, I'm here representing the water department of our little town of Summerfield. That's where I'm water commissioner.
I've often wondered, just what do you do as water commissioner?
Well, I keep the water in commission, I guess. And that's why I'm down here. Oh, thank you. The water department is putting out a 1949 calendar next month.
Why, that's nice.
And we'd like to have your picture on it, Miss Lamour.
But why my picture?
Well, wearing those sarongs in those South Sea Island pictures, we figure you've made water more popular than anybody else.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Gildersleeve, but I seldom pose in sarongs now.
You don't? Oh, my goodness.
But I'll be happy to pose in this dress.
Well, nothing's wrong with that. I'm sorry. Any way that you'll pose will be perfect, Miss Lamore.
Why, thank you.
And if you're ready, I am.
Well, aren't you going to have a professional photographer come in?
Oh, no, I thought I'd take the pictures myself. Never send a boy to do a man's work, I always say. I've got my brownie all loaded.
Well, all right. How shall I pose? How do you want my hands?
Well, I hadn't thought much about your hands. You might hold a glass of water in one of them and then point your finger at the camera like Uncle Sam does in those recruiting posters.
Point my finger? What for?
To remind my customers to pay their delinquent water bills.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand. Why don't you pose me? Just move me around any way you like.
Move you around.
Well, how do you want me? Full face or profile?
Let's make this a close-up, huh?
Well, don't you think you ought to get a little closer?
Huh?
Well, in the movies, a close-up's pretty close, you know.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
All right. There, I can see you in the viewer. Wow, what a view. Nice perfume, too.
Well, thank you.
Is that canal number 5?
Chanel, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, yes, Chanel. Pardon me. French. I love it.
Well, let's not take all night, Mr. Gildersleeve. Snap the picture.
Oh, yes, Miss Lamore, the picture. Well, here we go. Oh! I snapped my finger in the camera shutter.
Well, you poor man. Here, let Dorothy kiss it and make it all well.
Huh? Kiss it?
Well, just like my mother used to do. Here, give me your finger.
Well, should have gotten a manicure.
There.
Miss Lamore. Dorothy.
Quick, bring some water. The water commissioner's fainted.
Where am I? What's the matter? I'm all wet.
Now. Beautiful man lie back under coconut palm.
Huh? Oh, yes. Who are you?
Me little native girl.
Oh, yes, little native girl. You say, aren't you chilly?
Well, on tropical island, native girls do not get chilly.
Oh, that's a sarong, isn't it? Haven't I seen you somewhere before? Are you sure you're not Dorothy Lamour?
Oh, no, me native girl. Name is Murla.
Murla? Sounds like Lamour spelled backwards to me. I suppose she wants me to be her nature boy. What I want to know is, how did I get here?
Natives find you on beach and run away.
They did?
First time whale with mustache ever wash ashore.
Very funny. Native wit, no doubt. Well, must be late. Better be getting back to Summerfield. Whoop, where's my shirt? And who put this layer on my neck?
Murlay do that.
Yeah? Did you have to tie it to that palm tree?
Murlay want beautiful man to stay on island.
But I can't stay here, madam. Girlie, I have to get back to my job as water commissioner in Summerfield.
Murla got better idea.
Oh?
She make you water commissioner of island.
Oh, no. I've seen pictures of those fellows in the National Geographic. The water commissioners carry water on their heads in pots.
Murla sad if nice white man leave.
Oh?
Lie down under coconut tree and Murla serve you island feast.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Well, what's on the menu? What do you eat around this place? You got any tamales?
Oh, no. Oh, no. On island, we drink coconut milk and eat delicious raw fish with seaweed salad.
Kelp! Let me out of here.
Now, white man, lie quiet.
Well...
Murla stroke nice forehead. Beside, you too weak to leave now.
Well, I will say this. I'm weaker than I've ever been before. What's the name of this place? Maybe if I send a little money home each month to Marjorie and Leroy.
You mean you're going to stay with Moolah?
Sure. I don't want to be water commissioner anyway. Till next Wednesday night on NBC.
Thank you, Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. Your romantic approach is second to none. We'll be hearing you on your own Parquet Margarine show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in just a few seconds, we're going to give you some great news about our guests for next week.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
In case you're on the fence about dessert for Thanksgiving dinner, I've got a pip of a suggestion. Sealtest Butterscotch Ice Cream Tarts. It's the November dessert of the month, a real winner, and a fitting climax for the biggest day of the month. First, a base of famous-for-flavor Sealtest vanilla ice cream. Then, a luscious layer of rich, old-fashioned butterscotch. And on top, a saucy trim of honest-to-goodness whipped cream. And don't forget, Sealtest Butter Pecan Ice Cream is here as the flavor of the month, too. Mighty tasty eating, with its buttery-rich creaminess generously enhanced by crunchy pecan meats. So treat your family and friends to Sealtest Butterscotch Ice Cream Tarts. And be sure to ask your Sealtest dealer for Butter Pecan Ice Cream, too.
Get the best, get Sealtest.
And here again is your mistress of ceremonies, Dorothy Lamour.
Tony and Gildy, it was just wonderful having you here tonight. Not only thrilling for our audience, but thrilling to know that your appearance contributes to a fine cause, the establishment of the American Federation of Radio Artists Welfare Insurance Fund. Next week, our guest will be the bright young comedian, Donald O'Connor, and one of your very favorite romantic actors, John Lund. So I hope you'll be with us. And now a word from Carlton Cadell.
On this Thanksgiving Day, the phrase, "the faith of our fathers," calls up a stirring cavalcade of pictures, beginning with the inspirational scene of the pilgrims worshiping in the wilderness. Yes, in every crisis, our fathers trusted in God. They did not trust in vain. Follow their great tradition. Support your church or synagogue with time, attendance, faith, and a vitally important now, money, that the things of the Spirit may continue to be the foundation of our democracy.
Thank you, Carlton. Well, until next week, then, for Henry Russell, the crew chiefs, and tonight's guests, this is Dorothy Lamour saying good night. Keep well, keep happy, and keep listening.
Continuity for Sealtest Variety Theater is written by Howard Harris and direction is by Glenn Hall Taylor. Tony Martin appeared to the courtesy of Universal International. Now releasing You Gotta Stay Happy, starring Joan Fontaine and James Stewart. Tune in next Thursday at the same time when Sealtest Milk and Ice Cream again presents Sealtest Variety Theater, starring Dorothy Lamour, and as our guests, John Lund and Donald O'Connor. Sealtest Incorporated and associate companies are divisions of National Dairy Products Corporation. This is Carlton Cadell speaking.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.